Tonight, a new public high school that'll combine 3 campuses in the town receives the go-ahead from the state government. And an epic Outback journey for one Sydney family comes to an end in Port Augusta.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Whyalla is set for a new public high school with the state government to spend $100 million to replace the current junior and senior campuses. The local state MPs say local kids will finally have a modern facility that'll prepare them for the future.
Whyalla's public high school system is more than 30 years old, and under modern standards it'd easily be graded F. Whyalla High and Stuart High cater for Year 8 to 10 students, while Ayr High handles the seniors. It's the system the local member says fails local school kids.
And all the educators that I speak to say it's a very bad model for some students.
But that's now set to change. $100 million will be spent on a new public high school located on the land between the UniSA campus and the TAFE. It's being boasted as an important step in considering the future development of the region.
So we've got a whole range of opportunities, so that should be one of the that should be a focus.
But he wants the school to also support all different pathways.
There are some kids that are into the creative arts and to other aspects of education, so we need to cater for them as well.
Whyalla's mayor has also given the project top marks.
This is wonderful news for Whyalla, for education, for our young people, for this region.
Previous attempts to merge the three have been met with fierce resistance, including from the member for Giles himself. But he says this proposal ticks all the boxes to give our local kids the best education possible.
If we don't do that, if we just stay where we are at the moment, we're going to sell our kids short.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The number of homeless people is on the rise in Port Lincoln, with local support services reporting record high numbers of rough sleepers. They say a lack of affordable housing in the region is only making the problem worse.
Port Lincoln is on the verge of a homeless crisis.
The numbers are on the rise. We are seeing a lot more people present in the last fortnight alone.
Homelessness rates in the region have soared, with an increase in men aged between 18 and 24 and single males over 45.
We see poverty as a huge issue. We also see limited income as an issue. We like to call it a perfect storm happening in our state at the moment around housing.
The problem compounded by the lack of affordable housing and domestic support.
When you look at what's available week to week for people that need accommodation, there's very little private rental properties that are in the lower price range.
Lack of support, maybe from family to stay in their houses longer.
The issue is causing a domino effect in the region, distressing more families.
People that don't have anywhere to stay will then couch surf and frequent different properties. It then creates crisis in that house, as well as the impact on the person that's couch surfing.
However, it's not just housing that's an issue. Assisting people to manage simple daily tasks is also a key factor in getting people back on their feet.
Looking at budgeting, living skills once you have a house, paying your bills, keeping it clean, making sure the landlords are happy and you're doing all the right things.
Support groups are calling on the state government to pitch in and grant funding towards solving the housing issue.
We're now looking at some security in funding so we can make sure that West Coast Youth and Community Support and all the other specialised homeless services across the state can provide that really good best practice support to people that are struggling.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Hot commissioning has begun at the Near Star smelter in Port Pirie, signalling the operation of the facility's new furnace. The upgrade is set to significantly reduce the amount of pollution released into the atmosphere. Rachel Nell has more.
The lead smelter here in Port Pirie has reached a major milestone, with the first feed passing through the new enclosed furnace, the centrepiece of the $660 million upgrade. It marks a step forwards in the hot commissioning process, aimed at dramatically reducing the amount of lead emitted into the atmosphere, with hopes of improving the environment and the lead levels in the blood of residents. The first feed into the top submerged Lance furnace ensures the technology is fit for its purpose, with Near Star expecting to ramp up production at the new multi-metal recovery facility early next year. It's now an integral part of the Near Star group, putting Port Pirie on the global map.
Eventually we'll be able to treat any concentrate from anywhere in the world.
The technology used in Nearstar's redevelopment will improve profitability with an estimated improvement of $195 million by 2020 compared to its 2016 performance. This milestone marks an improvement from where the company was 20 years ago. And with each step forward, Nearstar is edging closer to finishing its game-changing redevelopment.
After trekking nearly 2,000 kilometres across the Australian Outback, a family has arrived in Port Augusta. They've taken their one-year-old on the journey to show to others that you can combine family life with an adventurous one.
It's hard to keep up with the Jonesies. They've traversed the Australian outback on foot in just 3 months. Today marks the end of their mammoth journey. Southern Cross News caught up with the family on their way to their Port Augusta finish line.
It's a real mixture of emotions. I mean, we've been on this for 102 days now, so this has kind of become our norm. And now civilization, the phones turning on, reception, just a bit overwhelmed actually, but pretty stoked.
With 2 carts full of food and camping gear and their daughter Morgan, they started their journey near the Northern Territory's Docker River.
For me, it was to challenge ourselves to parent outside the box, to do it our way, and to raise a resilient, nature-loving kid. And to do that, that's hard to do from the safety and security of your living room.
They say 1-year-old Morgan took her first steps in the outback.
Well, it's very easy to fall into that trap of, you've got to batten down the hatches, you can't really go out and do things and just live the safe life. And for us, it was like, raising a child is hard enough, so how about we go out there and actually really kind of challenge and live an adventurous and a family life? Why do they have to be separate? So give things a shot, but take it in small steps.
Raising funds for regional dialysis centres along the way, the Jonesies finished their outback journey on Port Augusta's foreshore, now in the arms of family.
But this is just the start.
Yeah, I think for me it was proving to ourselves we could do this, and then this opens the door up to the next thing. We just have to figure out what that is.
Got a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
They say this won't be their last trip, but for now they're looking forward to sleeping in a normal bed.
To not have to put up a tent and not to walk anymore. I think I'm okay to sit on the couch for a night.
More than a night. Yeah, a couple of nights.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. Still to come tonight, the Port Pirie Sports Precinct redevelopment reaches a major milestone. The details next. More than 150 sheep have been stolen from paddocks at a property on the state's west coast. Police are reporting thefts on a farm near Smoky Bay that occurred between September the 20th and October the 28th. At least 50 merino ewes and 50 lambs were taken from one paddock, with another farm nearby robbed of 22 ewes and another 50 lambs. It follows thefts from a nearby oyster farm where 10,000 juvenile oysters were taken last month. Police are appealing for anyone with information on both cases to come forward. The annual snapper fishing ban in South Australian waters has begun. Local experts say the bans help protect the fish during their key breeding season.
A snapper takes over 20 years to grow. I think the planning we make today will give us benefit in the future.
When the ban lifts in mid-December, 5 smaller spawning spatial closures will come into place across the Spencer Gulf and Gulf St Vincent again until the end of January. Patrols will be conducting regular inspection during those ban periods. The redevelopment of Port Pirie's sport precinct has reached yet another milestone, the laying down of the main oval's new turf. Council is now promising to have the upgraded facility up and running by the end of next year.
From soil to grass. Yesterday saw the rolling out of the turf for the very first time, which in all will be a 3-day process to complete. All in a bid to have the oval at the highest AFL standard.
It's just one of those milestone moments. People see a bare oval in preparation, but once you lay down the grass, you really see the tangible effort that's gone into getting to this point.
We already know it's a sports-mad city, and to bring its facilities up across a wide range of sports, I think, to a very high standard is going to really add a tick of enthusiasm.
Councillors promising to deliver a state-of-the-art oval for all players and spectators.
And it will be world-class facilities, the watering systems, the quality of the grass.
This Sports Precinct redevelopment also a massive draw card in getting the Masters Games back to town.
He left here and went to other towns with facilities that were probably of a better standard. We've done a lot of work here to make sure we've got state class and national class facilities.
After concerns as to whether the upgrade will be finished on time, Council has some good news.
We are well and truly on budget and on target to complete the project in the last quarter of 2018.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The Upper Spencer Gulf Cities Group says last week's SEGRA conference was evidence its collaboration is working. It's planning to continue to work together on boosting the area, saying it cannot survive if each region acts individually.
SEGRA has been and gone, with thousands of regional delegates from across the country coming together to discuss how regional Australia can thrive. Whyalla's mayor says the three-way hosting by Whyalla, Port Augusta and Port Pirie was well received.
We got comments from all over Australia from delegates who were there about what a great job we are working together, making things happen in our region.
And the three are only going to work closer. The Mayor of Port Augusta says the conference was vindication, that having joint goals is changing our fortunes as a region.
By sticking together and having that unity of the three cities and working collaboratively to get good results.
He says the work the three cities do is not as common across regional Australia as he originally thought.
Clearly they're not, and that was the most consistent feedback we got, is the fact that we are working together, we are working to get outcomes.
Mayor Brewer says with SEGRA now behind us, the region cannot rest on its laurels.
Have a big picture, have a big vision and work that way. Make things happen in your area.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
In the news ahead, a Victorian artist set to create a kooky piece of art. We'll tell you what he plans to do with it once it's done next. 10 new police recruits will be posted to stations across the region after graduating from the Community Constable program in Adelaide today. The development initiative trains members from different cultural backgrounds, among them 3 members from the African community.
Encouraging people from different ethnic backgrounds and diverse communities to become members of the South Australia Police is an excellent opportunity for us to achieve that goal of replicating and resembling our community.
Port Lincoln, Whyalla and Ceduna will be among 10 police stations across the state that the new recruits will call home. Another interesting sculptor has found himself working in Broken Hill. A Victorian artist will be crafting a unique piece of art just outside of town, but it won't be around for very long.
As he takes in the sights of the Silver City, Isaac Greener is thinking about his next big sculpture.
I actually had an idea when I was walking in the forest where I live, and that was to do this particular kind of work out in the desert.
The unique plan he's developed is to construct a mystery sculpture at Sunnydale Station, 60 kilometres out of town. And while that might sound normal, think again.
So, yeah, as you said, so the work is from dusk to dawn. I can't give exact details of exactly what it's going to be because it's a surprise for the town.
He'll start work at 6 o'clock Saturday evening and work through the night under a full moon until 6 o'clock Sunday morning. His work will take place during the Orionid meteor shower, which will provide a perfect backdrop. While the sculpture is shrouded in mystery, Isaac says it will pay tribute to memories, the infinite and the wonder of the region. But strangely, when it's all completed, he'll light a match and burn it all down.
This idea of the sand mandala is like a Buddhist kind of philosophy that when you start something, you end it. And my work's very much about a ritual. So for me, it's a ritual. It begins as the sun goes down, and that it symbolises the burning of it, symbolises the end of the work.
Locals are more than welcome to come out and watch the sculpture take shape or attend the burning in the morning. Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
The Port Augusta Hospital is celebrating a major milestone. It's been 20 years since the hospital's main building was built, and staff both new and old took a trip down memory lane.
For nurse Carol Brown, the big move feels like yesterday.
And then around morning tea we started the move, so people who were able to walk down the hill from the stack to the new hospital with the nurses.
She's worked as a nurse at the Port Augusta Hospital for 44 years. She says moving patients down the hill from the old building was a welcome change.
Fantastic. Having a new, clean hospital with beautiful views over the Gulf for the patients was really good. And just to have new equipment for the staff and just the good feeling of being down in a new hospital.
The hospital's 20th anniversary photo display documents life inside the wards as past and present employees marked the occasion. Country Health SA says the hospital has played a large part in forming the town.
The hospital seems to be the hub of you seem like every second person you meet has either worked, is working, or has someone they know working at the hospital. So yes, I think it does form the nucleus for the community.
Amidst changes over the years, she says the hospital recently implementing an on-site GP has been a huge relief.
That actually frees up the general practitioners who were being expected to come to the hospital whilst they were consulting at their clinics, and that has been a huge improvement, both from their perspective and also from the perspective of the patient, who can be seen a lot quicker.
The Port Augusta Hospital photos will be on display until Sunday. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Change of pace now to look at fuel across the region, and unleaded petrol prices seem to be on the way down, but diesel continues to climb. Here's Patrick with this week's Fuel Watch.
As we begin November, there's been some respite at the Bowser for Spencer Gulf motorists. But here in Broken Hill, it's a different story. Taking a look at unleaded, and we're seeing plenty of green across the board. Port Lincoln is the only town in the Spencer Gulf to see a rise, up to $1.30. There's been welcome relief for Whyalla after its prices soared last week, but the price is still around $1.38. Port Augusta is down to $1.26 along with Port Pirie. Kadina has seen a 1 cent drop to sit on an even $1.30, the same as Port Lincoln. In the Silver City, our price has jumped by 3 cents to $1.36. Adelaide motorists can afford to leave their shopper dockets at home because they're only paying prices in the high teens. To diesel now, when no one has had a good week besides Port Lincoln, who hasn't moved at all. Whyalla is on the way back up, and so is Port Pirie. Port Augusta is a cent dearer, Kadina almost 3. Broken Hill is one of the most expensive at $1.34, and it's been a quiet week in Adelaide, the price still hovering around $1.23. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages, and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. If you happen to find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, let us know on our Facebook page.
Stay with us. After the break, I'll have all the local weather details. Welcome back. Looking at the weather now, a fine day right across the region. Skies were clear in Port Augusta, hitting 28 there, 24 in Whyalla, 21 in Port Lincoln, sunny in Port Pirie, a top of 25, fine in Adelaide. On the satellite, cloud in the east with an offshore low is causing a few coastal showers. Cloud is increasing over Victoria and Tasmania ahead of a cold front. On our waters, winds will be southwesterly, southeasterly between 15 and 20 knots. Seas just over a metre with a south-southwesterly swell. Sunrise just before 6:20, sunset at around 7:45. Mostly sunny right across the region tomorrow, 31 in Port Augusta, 26 the forecast top in Whyalla, clear skies elsewhere with temps in the mid-teens, showers though on the EP, Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay, heading for 22. Looking ahead, it seems the showers will swing into action as we start the weekend at 20 degrees in Port Lincoln and Cleve on Saturday. A similar story across Whyalla and Port Augusta, but skies will clear in Kadina for a sunny 27 on Sunday. And showers on Saturday in Port Pirie as well, but it should clear up by Sunday, 28 degrees. Cooler in Clare, just creeping into the low 20s there, and also cooler in Broken Hill, 25 with a late shower on Sunday. And that is Southern Cross News for this Wednesday. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later tonight. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.